Namaste, it's Leanne Peters here. I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube. And I just wanted to stop by. This is a little bit of a post drawing of this tree here you can see behind me. So this is, if you're not aware, this is a tree that I draw with you in an art tutorial. So art tutorial, it has 6 high definition videos and I take you through step by step creating this tree. So I'm looking forward to sharing it with those of you who are interested in working through that creation with me. This is the first one I've done, and I create a lot. I create pretty much every day. There's not many days where I'm not creating something. I create using a lot of things, so not just drawing, I paint, I create pendants, I create through ceramics, I sometimes paint on drums, probably once or twice a month. There's lots of things that I'm doing every day, so creating is not a new thing for me. It is actually a part of my life, and I wanted to share. It's been 3 days since I finished this and finished the videos that are offered in the art tutorial, and I had a really big and quite profound experience with the creation of all of this, and I thought it might be interesting to you for me to share some of that experience. So this is very personal stuff, and it adds I guess the spiritual and a bit of a healing perspective to this creation. You know, sometimes I think when we're creating art, it's like, you know, oh yeah, I'm just blotting out some blob or whatever we're creating on a piece of paper or on a canvas, and that's it. It's done. It's not. Every creation we do changes us, and you know, it can be quite profound. Some more profound than others, depending on what we're going through, what we need, and what we allow ourselves to see. So, you know, it's a little bit like music. I play the trumpet, so I play a musical instrument in a concert band. And last year I was in 2 concert bands and a brass band. And so the last few years, you know, I played back in high school. Actually, when my art was evolving, I was also evolving as a musician, and I just thought those dots, those notes on the page, they were just dots on a page. If I could play those notes with my mouth, because I play a wind instrument, then, you know, I was doing that job. But when I retook back up playing the trumpet again just 4 or 5 years ago, I started to see that actually playing music is not just about the dots on a piece of paper that we're interpreting or playing as notes. There is feeling, there is movement, there is depth behind those notes that we play. So as I understood that, I began to play my instrument with more feeling and expressing, using those dots, those notes on the piece of paper as a way of expressing myself. And it's exactly the same with art. So after I drew this, which was on a Friday, it was 3 days ago, and I had a very busy creating week. So by Friday, when I was finishing this off, I was getting quite a sore arm. So my arm by the end of the day on Friday was actually pretty sore, my shoulder. And, you know, that's just from creating a lot. I did a lot of sculpting, a lot of drawing, and, you know, working with graphite pencil, you've got to press pretty hard. So, you know, by Friday night I was feeling fairly sore in the arm, and I thought I'm just going to take a break from creating this weekend and just give my arm and my shoulder a chance to rest, which worked. My shoulder's perfectly fine now, 3 days later. So, and got better, much better even the next day. But Saturday morning I woke up and I was feeling a bit sore in the shoulder, and I was moping, and I was feeling a little bit unsettled. And so the only thing, as I felt on, okay, what do I feel like doing? The only thing that even slightly appealed to me was taking a bath. And it was really early in the morning. It was Anzac Day, so there was a lot of emotion around as well, because we can't go out and connect for this special day in our country. We had to basically connect and show our support for those who are passed in the wars and who fight in the in the military. We're to show our respect at home. So I found it really touching, and I was awake for the dawn service, which I didn't set the alarm for. My body just woke up, and it was the first thing I thought about. So I connected with that, and it was so emotional for me, and I could feel all of my loved ones in spirit coming in really close, especially my grandfather. My grandfather did fight in World War II, and he's no longer with us. He passed away in the year 2000, and he was a big supporter of my art. And my art's taken a bit of a turn, a change in this last couple of weeks. I've stepped out and become a teacher of my art, which is not something I've done before. I've always loved teaching it, and I've done that in workshops and with children and my own children, my nieces and nephews. But I had never had anyone actually pay me to teach them art. So that was a big step for me, and I felt this big growing in the depths of me from this too. So there was a lot of emotions stirring in me on this morning. My grandfather energy was around strongly, and the only thing I felt like doing was taking a bath. So I slipped into the bath. I put on some nice relaxing music, and I just relaxed, and I laid there. And as I laid in the bath, I felt, and I connected and I relaxed, and I felt like a limb, like a limb of a tree. If a tree, we have a lot of gum trees here, obviously, so if a gum tree lost its limb, that's how I felt. I felt like I was a limb that had broken from the main tree, and I was laying back on the ground, just in my position on the ground. And then my mind I could feel this connection that this was my grandfather tree. And then, of course, that brought up memories of my grandfather himself. And I felt then this tree representing my ancestors, my grandfather, his son, my father, me from my father. Interesting, it didn't go down the female line at all. And then I thought, my grandfather, he was a limb from his father, or his parents and his parents and his parents, and I just felt this big cycle of connection. I felt myself as I lay as a limb on the ground in the bath. I could feel my head pull back and my hair grow and become the roots down into the earth, and my legs kick up and now become me as the sapling, me as the tree. And so as I broke away from the tree of my parents, especially my father, I lay as a limb, let's say as a seed on the ground, and then roots came out, my legs kicked up into the sky, and I began to grow as a tree in my unique essence. And from there, the limbs that I grew, my children, but also my creations, the things that I birth in my life. And then as my children leave home, which they're in the process of doing, they've just been doing, this last sort of few months, I've had children leaving the nest, and they break off the tree that I created. They break off and become their own limb, and then the cycle continues. They bury their head into the ground, they kick their roots, their feet up into the sky, and they become a sapling and they grow. So every individual tree I saw was us as individuals, our unique self. And I felt the uniqueness of my grandfather, my father, and myself, and my children, as we detached from the things that we're attached to, detached from having other people responsible or care for us, which is their job, until we are able to be independent. And then as we become independent, we break away, or our project, our creation breaks away, and then the roots go in, we start growing in our individual essence again. and again and again. And I felt this massive creation process unfold just by simply feeling that I was a limb laying on the ground. And it made me feel, especially as I step into my role as a teacher of the arts, and even doing this drawing is a big part of that new phase for me that I'm stepping into. I felt this strong power within me. And then I wrote this poem. I thought I might share it with you. This poem is in my journal, because I wrote a lot in my journal that day, and I felt deep meaning. It says, "Meaning so deep, it sings to my soul. It reaches inside and bursts out of the hole. The hole in the back of my heart," which is how I described that pain in my shoulder from creating so much last week. The hole in the back of my heart, damaged and torn, limb breaking free. Then I realised I was a limb on the ground, but my limb was sore from creating so much last week. My limb breaking free, I surrender deeply to me. I drop and surrender from my grandfather tree, a limb resting on the ground, a whole sky to see. I rest and relax, detach from the tree, then something sparks awake inside. I realise more about me. My life is full of growing limbs, my children, my creations, all that has birthed out of me. It's a dance of growth and detachment as all of these offspring seed. Each limb, every offspring is of their own, the new sapling who sings its own song. No tree is the same, no creation either, for each are born with a unique master. The master is that of our own heart, the uniqueness of our voice, the presence we command, and the power of our choice. We are who we are. Let's wear our scars with pride. Let's go out on a limb. Let's break away from conformity's stride. We have what we need buried inside, gems of creation, waiting to be birthed on our earth ride. And then a message to myself: grow, sweet sapling, break your limb free. A whole world awaits for you to live your dream. And this clicked something in me. I love expressing through poetry, and I'll put a link in the video where you can link back to that actual poem. And I love sharing and expressing through poetry, but something clicked in me because it was that moment when I finished that poem that I realised that I'd been drawing a tree. I'd been drawing a tree. And this limb of mine, the vision of a limb laying on the ground, I hadn't even clicked any of that to this tree. So there's something really special about this tree now to me. It's not merely a creation. In fact, I took that photo of that tree when I was camping for the first time in many, 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 many years with my father and some of my family, my sisters, my nieces and nephews. So there is something special about this, and even though this is a very personal experience for me and the creation of this very humble tree, that I just thought, okay, what's a great place to start with an art tutorial? And it had to be a tree because I have a special bond with them. And when I took this photo in March 2020 when we were camping with my father before he left to go to another state where he lives, I found this tree, this photo of this tree that I took, very, very special. So there is something very special that's awakening within me from this experience. So creating something is not merely just putting pen to paper, pencil to paper. It can be something so much more and something so much deeper. So if you would love to connect with this particular tree and draw it, because I created in a way, a step-by-step way that's easy for beginners. So I break it down step by step. We do it in real time. There's no speeding up of the creation of this when we start from this blank piece of paper and create it into this. And it is doable. Even if you're a beginner, it is absolutely doable for you. So I share some tips and tricks and some skills that I've learnt along the way over 30 years of creating. And for you, you may find some deep meaning in the experience for you. So it has been deep meaning for me. If you want to learn how to draw this tree and do that with me, you can register for it any time. I've created the videos now, so they're ready to go. They're available. So you can join in any time. It's really affordable and a great way for you to connect with your inner creativity, also to build some new skills for yourself, and perhaps to have an experience. Your experience will likely not be anything like mine. So don't feel that it has to be. Just let your experience evolve based on what stirs for you, what's remembered in you about the creation, and what signs and synchronicities are all lining up to create this connection or this remembering or the depth of meaning in this creation for you. So if you want to connect with this tree and draw it for yourself from start to finish, please visit templeofbalance.com.au. Look up the store tab and you can look up the art section if you're interested. Look up art tutorial. So the link's also in the video below. So thanks for watching, thanks for connecting. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up button. Please show us some love. Please comment or share if you're inspired to. And I trust that there's something in here that resonates with you. I'm sure it's no accident that I'm sharing this connection. So thank you for connecting, and I trust you enjoy drawing your own version of this tree. So thank you, and bye for now.